Welcome, everyone, to our Salon number 64, the part 2, Bridging the Gap with Vision of the Gift of Shared Purpose, Uniting People and Movements, featuring Vanda, Perez, Bessone, Miki, Kashtan, Emma, Quayle, and Menaka, Neotia. In the Gift Economy Breaking Through Salon series, hosted by the International Feminist for the Gift Economy. I'm your moderator, Letecia Layson. I'm just going to give a short introduction of our presenters and turn the mic over to Vanda, who's going to start us off in this part 2 process, which I'm really excited to see where they bring us today. So for our speakers, Miki Kashtan is the seed founder. Emma Quayle is a founding member, and Menaka, Neotia, and Vanda Perez Bessone are part of the Nonviolent Global Liberation NGL community. You can find their full bios on the website. And I want to encourage you, if you were not able to participate in part 1 of the Salon, which is Salon number 58, we'll make sure to put the link in the chat so that you can go back and find it, and a link to the NGL community link where you can read full bios. NGL's most radical experiment is about prototyping a global maternal gift economy. Yay for that. Everything that happens within NGL is based on gifts freely given of thought, love, conversation, intimacy, tasks, teaching, and money. The NGL framework includes design and implementation processes that arise from engaging with all the above questions. So I am going to turn the mic over to Vanda as she begins our journey and helps us to imagine coming together as we are in this Zoom room to materialize the maternal gift economy. Welcome, Vanda.
Thank you, Letecia. Oops, someone, yeah, thank you very much. I have, it's my second Zoom meeting ever in which I'm appearing publicly. And for some reason, I'm not understanding. It's again up to me to start getting something rolling. Last time I introduced Miki. So I'm feeling more nervous than you might think. And I think, what I'm doing now is giving a very short review of what we did last time. And for those, I think I'm seeing quite a few new faces that weren't there last time. So there is no need to worry, because we are going to repeat part of what we did last time, which is central to what we are doing today, which is connecting to vision. And the first thing I want to share is that, as last time, this is going to be an interactive workshop. It's not presentation. So we are going to invite you, or Miki or Emma, one of them is going to invite some of us to read the vision again. And this is basically what we started with last time, connecting with the reason why vision is so central to transforming or moving from the place we are towards a world we truly want to live in. And Emma shared last time this image of vision as a kite, and how important it is to not only have this vision that pulls us together and helps us mobilize the resources we have available to create that world, but also the vision needs to be anchored. We need to be holding it, and we need to anchor it in agreements and systems that are aligned with it, and that are going like this tension between the kite up in the air and us holding it tightly. It is that what we need to mobilize the resources towards creating that reality. So yeah, I think we did connect to that vision, the vision of a world functioning fully on maternal gift principles. And we also connected to the gap between that vision and the current reality. We looked at why that also is essential and how that helps us in bringing softness rather than anger or lose energy by fighting the reality as it is. And we went through some of the aspects of the framework called vision mobilization. And basically, we even actually looked at what would be ours to do within that whole vision. And before I get completely lost, I think the only thing that I'm going to say now is that we are going to reconnect to the vision and look at other aspects of it that are relevant to the framework. I'm going to give the voice now to Miki and I think Emma after that.
Thank you. I want to give another piece of context, which is our purpose within NGL is to integrate nonviolence into the fabric of human life through ongoing live experiments with truth in individual and collective liberation. So we are fairly obsessive about being experimental, and almost everything that we are asked to do, the question is, what are we experimenting with here? And so this too, what we're doing here is an experiment. It started out with one meeting last time to see, what can actually happen when a fairly random group of people come together. Is there something compelling enough in the vision, compelling enough in going through the process that can actually create cohesion even when people didn't necessarily come already cohered from before? That question still remains. At the end of last time, there was a lot of energy in the room. We did quite a bit of connecting with the mourning about the gap. Of everybody resonated with the vision that we had. And then watching the gap between where we are and the vision. We don't have to go very far. We all know of the gap. The gap is within us in how much we ourselves, even as we long for the vision, are we actually able to live it? Not so much of the time. And when we look around us, what do we see? We see so much that isn't aligned with the vision. So being with the gap and mourning it was a big piece of what we did last time. And there was a lot of energy, out of which came the idea that we will come again. And so we are continuing the experiment and surrendering to it without knowing, is this it? Will this be the end of the experiment, or will there be another chapter? We don't know. We are here to see what it is that we can do together. It's not like we have something we know and we're bringing it to you. It's that we have a framework into which we are inviting you to weave yourself and co-create with us and see what is the soup that emerges from all these ingredients. So I will pass it to Menaka to talk about one aspect of how we deal with the gap. And then I think it's back to Vanda. Emma comes later. Yeah.
Thanks, Miki. One more thing that we've been experimenting with is navigating power and privilege dynamics, not pretending like it's not there because it's there, and there's a gap in how much power we have to move resources. So we want to experiment in NGL. What we're doing is experimenting with doing the tracking within the meetings and courses. So it's not like the meetings and courses happen and then outside we do power and privilege tracking or seeing what happened. And so the idea is that we all grow our collective capacity in getting more aware of it. So I will, this is what I will experiment with today, that if I sense any impacts that I think will block people's presence, it's a very light version of power, and PNP is power and privilege tracking. I'll make it visible if it's within capacity. And I'll try and do it in a way that there's learning for all. And like last time, even this time, our invitation is that if you would like to join in the experiment and for me to do the tracking with you also, then please put a P for parrot, P in front of your name. I hope that's clear. Okay.
I think you are going to track us. Those of us who are holding this event, you're going to track us and you're inviting others if they want to also be tracked.
Yes. Thanks, Miki. Over to Vanda.
Okay. Yes, so just as last time, we would love if somewhere in this space that is not connected to NGL already finds the courage and willingness to read for all of us the vision that Miki is going to share or is actually already sharing on screen. And the request is also as last time, if you are willing to read, that as you read, you try to embody what is being written, what's written and what you are reading, and try, to fully connect to the possibility of being immersed in the world as described in this vision. So is there anyone in the room, preferably not from NGL, who would be willing to read this for us and invite us to put the kite up in the sky? And I can't see people, so I need some support. I'm only, I don't know. Anyone seeing? Maybe just unmute, inviting people to unmute and say whether they are willing. And even if it's just reading like the first paragraph and someone else could join afterwards, we would be very happy. So unmute yourself if you're willing to join by reading.
I can read the first paragraph. Humanity is functioning as one interconnected whole. We meet our material and non-material needs as members of a global interspecies web through maternal gifting in regenerative communities and in reverence for life.
Thank you. Is anyone called to keep reading?
I'll read the next paragraph. We share resources locally and move them through regions from where they exist to where they are needed, based on willingness and capacity with the least unwanted impacts. We encounter finitude collaboratively across all ages, and none of us stretches to give beyond our willingness. We have relearned to take only what we need, not more, not less, and we experience enoughness and peace within the web of life on earth.
Okay, I'm going. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All of us who want to, everywhere, participate in shaping the way things unfold in our regions and beyond. We live in an ongoing local and global web of learning and attunement.
I can read the next if you want.
Thank you. Yes.
We mobilize our collective human ingenuity, integrating new discoveries with ancient wisdom. to attend to human needs within planetary limits, and we care for the seed of life with reverence. We have found ways to have enough food, water, and shelter for all of us. When known needs exceed capacity, we attend to each such situation in its uniqueness, knowing that it involves specific human beings who are in distress because of there not being enough of something to attend to their needs. As we discover and expose the actual needs and make them clear and known, creative solutions emerge.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, inviting now Emma to take over.
Okay,
Emma.
muted. Yeah.
You want this to still be?
Yeah, I want to stay here. I just want to see more people. I'm gonna do this. So just giving a moment for you to take that in and kind of sit in it, sit in the resonance of it for a moment. I want to say something about vision. If you notice how it's written in the present. So it's written in the present as though we are there right now. And we write vision as something that we're able to very clearly imagine right now so that we can inhabit it. And it's important that we're able to inhabit it so that we can sense into the very real possibility, and so we can actually feel it. And yeah, from there, see what steps could be possibly be made to take towards it. So from this place of sitting within it in whatever ways you are, I want to invite anyone to say if there's anything for you that is missing. Like as you listened to the people reading it, was there any bits of imagery or like places where you thought it was going to go, or something that for you was not spoken? And if there is, then raise your hand, and we want to hear what that is and to integrate it. Because if we're going to move forwards towards a vision that is an integrated vision, then we need more of our wisdom, more of our voices in it.
I apologize. I don't know how to raise my hand, but I agree with what you're saying.
You raised your voice.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Jody, Ancient Brown Bear Child. I'm a spiritual leader and guide within the original bear clan, Heyoka Deja. And so I agree 100% with what you're saying. With regards to the second sentence, all of us who want to, going in alignment with what you're saying, all of us everywhere. So want to, we recognize that as looking forward to something rather than in the now.
Wait, where is it? I'm not finding it.
Oh, it's the third paragraph.
All of us who want to everywhere. So all of us everywhere participating in.
Oh, here, I got it. Okay, all of us who want to everywhere participate in shaping. Yeah.
So all of us everywhere are participating and
there's a reason why it's there.
okay.
It's to avoid any sense of coercion or expectation that you should participate. You only participate if you want to.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, my apologies. Thank you.
No, I think it's an important thing that you said, because we all learn from asking questions like this about, yeah, what this vision is that we're moving towards. So thanks for asking, for saying.
Thank you.
Yeah, Susie. Yeah.
Sorry.
Hi.
Yeah. So I would like help to understand what is meant by what I think is the second sentence in the second paragraph. We encounter finitude collaboratively across all ages, and none of us well, I understand the second half, the none of us stretches. The first part, the finitude part, is unclear to me.
So
Emma, if you would highlight where what's
oh,
said, it
yeah.
would be helpful.
No,
Thank you.
I
No, I
need
put
to.
it here because I'm on the same document.
Oh, right, right.
It doesn't, it still shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm taking from this is that finitude is a reality of life on this planet, and you know, sometimes there are like 5 of us and there's 4 of something, and we need to work out what we do to distribute that thing. So it's rather than kind of fighting over those things or kind of distributing things by some kind of hierarchy, it's like working out what are the needs, how do we distribute this within that? We're actually collaborating to find ways forwards with the finite resources that we have.
Perfect, thank you. Very clear now, thank you.
Yeah.
There's one additional layer to this,
Oops, sorry.
which is that finitude, when we don't engage with it collaboratively, becomes scarcity. Scarcity isn't about there being a finite amount. It's about how we relate to the fact that there's a finite amount. So there is something very deep here that is an attempt to rewire us away from the deeply grooved patriarchal belief that scarcity is the foundation of life. So within finitude, there can be enoughness.
Yes, and I want to shortly bring an anecdote in. It happened, I remember asking, we don't have anything about how we engage with conflict. And this is, Miki, the framing you came up with. So you might notice that there is nothing, the word conflict is not mentioned here, or war. And this is the reason why, because in this vision language, yeah, it's not even necessary. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very powerful language, in my view, to frame it like this. Yeah, it goes like one level even deeper than what we usually encounter in reality, which is conflict. It's really going, yeah, to the source of, yeah, of sharing what we have or what we encounter.
Jen, is your hand up? Yeah.
There. I think that giving and receiving makes sort of a basic human logic that we all share, and that we can access that, and it helps us to communicate and live in community and all of that. So, and I don't see anything about that in there. Is that something you haven't thought about, or that is not important to you?
I think giving is there. There isn't anything specific about receiving.
Yeah, receiving is important too.
Yeah,
And
I think introduce it between these two places. Yeah.
But it also makes a basic connective logic that we all participate in. We have to. I mean, even breathing is receiving and giving, as well as language.
Yeah.
And everything. So
There's something here.
We fully.
Can you think of something? I'm not.
I'm thinking.
Within the word share, I think is the implication of both giving and receiving. Maybe not for everybody else.
Here.
It's not made explicit.
I'm gonna try something. Oops.
I also like the idea of human needs within planetary limits, and we care.
Can you wait a second? Because
Yes.
I'm trying to think and integrate. How about this?
Yeah, but it doesn't talk about how it is sort of a basic logic of life. So that's just what I would say, but you don't have to say it if it doesn't occur to
The
you.
question is, how do we integrate? If we don't think exactly like this, I'm wondering if there's enough here about giving and about receiving to capture it sufficiently for you to find yourself within it, even if it's not your words. That's
It's
that's
not
a
a
real
question of
question.
words. It's really a question of analysis, but it's okay if you don't have that same analysis. Go ahead and do it.
No. This is a super important thing. When you say it's okay if you don't have the same analysis, puts you outside the vision. And if we are trying to create a vision to unite us, we need to find a way for you to be in the vision. And for that, we need to integrate, not like have you be nice and accept that this may not be the same. It actually requires integration.
Well, I need to read it better then to see if there might be a place where I could put it in. Is that okay? You want to, can I wait and do it after I've looked at it more?
Yes, I just.
How about just something I can't, I'm not functioning very well for wording things, but like something like, what is given as part of the organic flow of life or something.
I think it,
because you were saying about breathing being about giving and receiving, so that's like there's a very natural like life movement there.
And it's also about mothers and children, you know, about mothers nurturing children, giving and receiving. That's how we start life and how we begin to think and everything. But
I had an idea to write, Miki and Emma, I'm not seeing you here, but to possibly write something in a direction of we all experience the gift of giving and receiving unconditionally, and none of us stretches to give beyond our willingness.
I like that.
That's good.
I think
no, I missed it.
Can you say it again? We all
experience, it's in the chat, we all experience the gift of giving and receiving unconditionally, and none of us, yes.
Oops.
Great.
Yeah, this now can go. Yeah.
Great.
This, I also want to point out to what we did now is the essential human activity of moving from separation to togetherness. Until we do that, we are over here and you are over there. We're not fighting, but we're not actually together. As we grapple with where is that gap, how do we influence each other linguistically in terms of ideas, in terms of concepts, analysis, and care and experience and all of that? How do we do that? Until we find something that you and we can both rest in. And once that is found, then it is ours collectively, not yours and not ours over here. And then experience shows that when you do that kind of integration, more people can find themselves within it than before the integration.
Yes.
Not just you others who may have not even thought of this. It's just the language gets more specified, clearer, deeper, more inviting. Do you see it? I'm wondering if others see it, even if you never had this issue before. Do you have that sense of the language being more inviting and clearer? Would you make any signal if this integration actually worked for you to create something that wasn't there before? That is part of the movement of uniting and of moving to the future. So I'm super happy that you had this and that I caught you before you disappeared into, okay, that's very nice and I'm not part of it. Yeah. Thank you.
May I say something? Say? Yes, this
Yeah.
is Helen Huang from Southern California, Lighter Creek. In just response to you, Miki, good to see you finally.
Yes.
Yes. You know, I'm new, sorry, so excuse me that if I say something, you know, out of the context. But when you make this vision, and I am wondering what the sort of the value or something that embraces everything, right? So I can see here motherhood. Is that the one? Because it's maternal. So I think it's good to visualize something, the value that we are, and that instead of saying that what you really describe in words, and it can be very descriptive, you know, then the mind, our mind can go into any direction, the direction that we are familiar with. But if we put something like motherhood, or the, you know, in my case, it's the cosmic mother, you know, I go with the creatrix, and you know, from my context. So if we put out something like a motherhood or whatever, then that brings us together. That really makes us realize that even, you know, before reading this whole thing, that our mind, we are just brought it together. So I feel that, I don't know, there's a no value, however we say something, some conceptual image there. That's my thought.
Do you want to say anything about the values?
I didn't get the connection to talking about values right now. Sorry.
Okay. So I'm not positive that I understood you in full. When we describe a vision, we describe a picture of how things can be.
I see.
Within that picture, there are certain qualities that are the ones that then become the values. And as you see, we have two so far that we have identified,
right? Okay.
that are within this. And that doesn't mean necessarily that this is comprehensive. So for example, one other value that we could add is maternal giving, which we don't need to explain now, but I think when you say motherhood, that's what I understand here. And that's a value that is a quality present in this picture of the vision. So when we get to the point of what are the values that are in this vision, that's when we name it. And it is those values that we're then going to try to live into, even in the world as it is now, even when the vision is not there, even when the obstacles are there, even when the gap is there, we're still going to try to live into those values. I'm wondering if this speaks to what was important to you, or did I miss it?
I think what I am saying is a little bit different. But what I am saying is, when I say vision, when I hear the word vision, it's not wordy to me. It's some sort of consciousness or something that you really think of the first, and that, because because you just said that you read this whole thing, but still I agree with everything, but I'm not there yet. I mean, that's yours or something. But if you present something really matters to everyone, that keyword, you know, that's for me, that's a vision. That's a vision. You just point something, then everybody opens up to do that direction that you want to point to, and that's a vision. Then you come up with these descriptions that to be inclusive, descriptive, helping people to understand when well, maybe some people, we all have a different faculties to perceive the message, but that's when I hear the vision, that I would put out some key image, keyword there, then that will really bring us together, whatever. And then it goes into a little explanation what that means, or, you know, how the maternal gift economy works in it, and you know, all the wording that you have now. But anyhow, that's the way that how it works for me.
I'm not actually sure that I understand what
That's
is being
okay
asked.
then.
No, it's important. It's important, and I want to see how we integrate it. And I don't actually get it enough to think with you.
Somebody said that,
Actually,
let's help. Somebody can I read? Somebody responded to that one. Jody.
I want to invite a small pause, just very shortly, because there is a request, Miki and Emma, in the chat, to maybe stop share screening.
Okay.
For people to be able to relate to each other. So just wanting to bring that in. I've been waiting a second. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it speaks to what you're saying at all, but one thing that came to me as you were speaking was something about worldview, and like, what is the worldview that we're orienting from? And that can actually be kind of distilled into quite a lot of simplicity. And that if that was spoken to, then, and we were all in agreement about that worldview, then we could kind of come along in the same direction. And everything else after that is details. Like what we have here written in the vision is kind of details of that.
I see.
But what I'm hearing you speak to is the wanting the essence of the worldview. Does that resonate?
Yeah, what you call worldview. Yes, something that when we see, or when we hear this image, that in general, that if you know, this speaks to me, or it's inclusive, then that kind, I think this is some motherhood for me. Motherhood, but motherhood can be also understood in different ways. So maybe to clarify a little bit more, you know. And really, it should be maybe the most like 3 words or something, you know, so that when we think of this vision, that one, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I think the thing is with having very few words like that is that people understand words differently.
That's right.
So we can have many different ideas and images coming off of words. And I think what we're aiming for here is to paint enough of a picture so that we can kind of try and see ourselves within it.
Yes.
And it could be that if we get to a point of saying, yes, we see ourselves collectively in that picture, then we could distill it. Then we could distill it to 3 words, or something smaller. But I think we're not there yet collectively to be able to do what you're imagining is possible. So I'm not seeing you as like not within this vision at all. I mean, you said that you're in agreement with it all. I think you're seeing maybe a few steps ahead of where we are collectively.
I see.
Yeah. And there are different steps of vision, you know, like what we've written here is as far as we're able to see right now. If we get to that place where this vision is a reality, amazing. And then we can see a few steps further.
I see. Okay.
It's not like this is the end. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that helps.
Great.
Definitely. Thank you. Emma?
Great. Thank you.
For some reason,
You're
I can't
welcome.
figure out how to raise a
Somebody
hand.
raised the hand.
Like
Yeah.
to-
Sorry, Dylan has her hand up and then Genevieve.
And then Jody. Then. Okay.
So I'm getting from both Jen and Helen and this group the importance of the maternal gifting economy and motherhood and the cosmic mother. And I thought if you just added, and I don't know if this is not, I want to be inclusive of all people as well. So when you say human ingenuity, and if you added cosmic mothering or universal mothering, the mothering principle in a way, integrating ancient wisdom and current plans. So it's just adding that element of mothering that is so relevant to all humanity. So that's what I was wanting to throw into the mix as a possibility, to acknowledge that mothering is a quality, and maybe it is a value, that we value mothering or something. I'm not certain. So thank you for all humanity to do that, to mother. What
were
did you think of that? So I need to see the vision again.
Oh, yeah, screen share again.
I was
let's-
suggesting that, yeah.
I'm gonna put the vision again in there, so see
Okay.
if you can propose something.
Yes, it's right. Thank you. We mobilize our collective human ingenuity and universal mothering or cosmic mothering. In other words, to make it more bigger than mothering, even though mothering is sweet, integrating new discoveries and ancient
I
wisdom.
think the thing is here, like mobilizing collective human ingenuity is actually a tangible thing that we do. Like our brains are designed to be able to problem solve
Yes,
together. So it's actually something
sure.
that we do. Cosmic mothering isn't something that I know what to do anything with. It's more like a kind of orientation or something. Maybe it would fit more in values, but
That's where I see it still.
I don't know how to. I like the words, but I
You
don't
don't know
actually
how to cosmic mother?
I don't know what it means. Yeah.
What is it that you do? So what is it that you do? Because
I allow universal mothering to flow through me is what I do. I
What is
allow
universal mothering?
universal or the mothering
What
principle
does
to move
universal
through me.
mothering mean? Mothering principle.
Something like that. Yeah.
And what is the mothering principle that you're allowing to move through you?
It's a consciousness or a intuition, it's how I'm designed to be, right? How we are as humans are designed to be. So I am being human, and yet at the same time I'm being a fully, I don't know. There's something about the energy behind it, or the energy of flowing with life. I'm flowing with life, if you want to use words that are, but I am open to that energy. And I'm particularly open to the mothering component of that, which is caring for, giving, receiving, and I'm only saying it because I heard both Jen and Helen want to speak to that word. So I was like, how can we put that in there in a way that is that right, Helen and Jen? Were you speaking? And I see, Jen, you have your hand up, so I'll pause and listen for a minute.
Okay, I agree. Thank you. But yes, but Jen, I listen to you. Okay, to others.
I can't see the part of the script now that that I would like to talk about. Can you lower it a bit so I can see that part there, where that you changed it before? Okay, we all experience the gift of giving and receiving unconditionally by our motherers. Motherers provide the gift of giving and receiving unconditionally to all of us. And this is the basic, what would I say, flow of life, or not flow. I would maybe use a different word than that. The pattern of life that we can all access. So I would maybe could put that in there and just use the word mothering or motherer. And
The word motherer is not one that is ordinarily recognized, and part of what we're trying to do is use as much as possible words that
no problem.
yeah.
We all experience the gift. We all experience giving and receiving
Mothering
unconditionally by our mothers. Our
Yeah,
or
that's fair.
yeah.
We added it in another place. Back down where it says collective human ingenuity, adding mothering intuition.
Well, I would like to talk about actually the action, the unconditional giving and receiving, which is giving to needs, satisfying needs directly.
Yes, we talk about that. That's already there.
It's you know, I mean, I can't do it without going very detailed into it, and it's going to take too long for this session.
Yeah,
I'm seeing Peggy both in the chat and raising her hand, wondering.
wait. Should I take this out before let's land one thing before we open another.
Is it?
I think Peggy has a comment on mothering on that. Maybe it might. So Peggy is within the thread.
I wanted to land the thing first because even if it's within the thread, it may go in a different direction. Like, I didn't read Peggy's thing.
Let's hear from Peggy.
Okay, I'm just going to underline this.
Yeah. Peggy.
Yes, I just wanted to say, it's in the chat. Let me get to the chat. I just wanted to draw attention to what I say in the chat.
Go ahead.
And I say, the first thing I said in the chat, I see this vision as one grounded in our common humanity. And my question is, would the use of the word motherhood take away from this? So this is a comment I made some time ago. And then I have, for me, mothering is also inherent in the first sentence. So what really strikes me about the vision is that it is grounded in a common humanity. And to me, that is really the most important thing about this vision, because this is the problem. When people do not see others as equally human, that's where the problem starts. So I really like that grounding us in a common humanity. I like even the word humanity is the very first word I see. And I really like that.
Thank you.
Great.
So I think I want to stop the sharing and now talk about what it is that we are doing here and how this activity that we are doing now is itself part of the whole question of what it means to unite and come together. It's very delicate work. I looked a little bit at the chat. I can't look at the chat very much. And I am taking from what is in the chat that simplicity is absolutely key to being able to find something that really brings people together. And so it was very affirming for me to hear from not capture in the vision every little nuance of complexity and analysis that is important to each person. And that is part of the paradox of coming together. We need to come together on the basis of what is common, not what is specific to this or that particular person or movement. And how to do that is a really, really key question And there comes a point, I don't believe we have necessarily reached it, but I imagine you all feel the gravity of how difficult it is to work out these details. Is this making sense to people? Do you sense that we're talking about things that are super vitally important, and how we work it out to find language that is simple enough, comprehensive enough, and touches sufficiently on what's important for people that all of us can stay together. And ultimately, there comes a point where you need to make hard decisions. I don't think we're there. We aren't actually, I don't think we have reached a stage where we are actually seriously thinking about us moving together and creating something together. This is still a playground. It's not happening. When the moment of happening comes, these conversations about vision cannot continue indefinitely. There comes a point where you need to land and say, this is how far we can go. And from now on, people join if they relate to the vision as it is, rather than continually being preoccupied with changing and changing and changing the vision. Again, I'm not saying now is the time. I'm saying there comes a time when we need to be able to make those decisions and say, this is what we stand for. And it isn't necessarily going to be that everyone can be part of a movement. I'm curious if this is resonating with people and if people have any comments on this point that isn't what is currently in the vision, but just the question of how do we create conditions where people can self-assess if it makes sense for them to be part of a movement or not. I'm thinking when the Occupy was going on, the Occupy movement was going on, I was visiting a lot the Occupy movement in Oakland, which is where I was living at the time. And every week, everything was up for grabs again. And I thought to myself, this is part of what will destroy the movement, not being able to land anywhere and stay there for a while. So I'm curious now to hear from people with any comments on this. And my thought is, if there's going to be any movement, some of this needs to be done offline. In other words, people can get access to the document and make comments, and we work with it not live with 30-something people together. It was important to do a little bit of this now so that people can see that integration is possible. But integration takes a lot of brain calories. It's one of the most difficult activities that humans do. It's the crowning achievement of our big brains. It's being able to integrate across differences in order to collaborate. So I would like to hear from other people where you are in relation to any of this, and especially comments and thoughts about the question of how far do you go to integrate all of that. Really would like to hear from people. This is an open space for conversation. Yeah, Jen.
Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time, but is the name of this is the maternal gift economy, your statement? And the word mothering isn't really placed in important places there, and mother. So that is my objection to it, and I'll just leave it at that because I think there's a contradiction there. But I don't want to take up too much of your time.
You're not taking up my time. You're part of this, Jen, or it doesn't happen.
Well, then what, then the word mother needs to be in the document somewhere. It needs to have an important place, and the fact of calling it maternal gift economy needs to be justified in the document.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Miki, I'll be short, but you are always sincere asking, people what people think, even online. So I take it really, the way it is. When I say, I think I have a different way of approaching the togetherness or the community, feeling that we are together. The whole thing, community is something, because we're dealing with this big category, right? It's not, the pockets of good groups that would have really good intentions, openness. You want to really make the people that I feel this one, this is it, and this is sort of, I don't want to use the word universal, but sometimes I replace the word universal with metriversal, because it's for me the whole, I envision this whole thing as a mother word. This is the whole thing. I already moved away from this what others say there, but that's what I do. So the community for me is something that people discover. It's like, no matter how we say good words, come and do, let's do it here. Some people would feel cold. Okay, I really feel this is it that I want to join. But some people, we have to respect, no, this is not the thing, right, that I want. So let that go. But the thing is, that's just the way it is, right? The things are going that way. But we want to bring something that I think that's how I understand what you're doing is putting out the vision that people at least feel that included, that we are included, right? That's what, and then you are trying to do it with words, this vision statement from it. Well, and I'm going back to what I said first, that whatever imagery or keywords, whatever. But then another thing is community is something, no matter how good, we put out in words, and that works in a different faculty in our brain, but it should go beyond the brain if we want to bring the people. So the vision is, for me, it's beyond the brain or rationality or whatever. It's like that's why the spirituality comes in, dreams and this kind of thing, poetry, arts, the thing that is not really can be described all the way. If there's something that's what I mean. That's how I approach, the togetherness is not something to be built, because it's really hard. People always say that we want to build, connect, whole thing. But the thing is, something, Jen said that it's a mother. Actually, it's the mother that it can be mother. Actually, in ancient time, you mentioned there's a word that ancient wisdom. I'm very happy because my work is going back to the bringing this really pre-patriarchal, and proto-patriarchal worldview, or whatever, the thinking, the consciousness, the mind, that how people think, putting it out, right? But so that we suggest this kind of imagery or conceptual consciousness, let's call, and that brings us together. To me, that's it. Thank you.
Is there anything else alive for anyone? Peggy.
Yeah. So again, just want to say this. As a woman of color, that's me, from a colonial history, living in the Caribbean, I am very conscious of differences, very conscious of differences. And in the past, I have said that I have to be able to speak my own reality. You cannot speak my reality for me. So I'm very, very focused on this idea of people speaking for themselves. At the same time, there is no way that, at the same time, unless we can find a common humanity, and that is why I keep talking about that common humanity, we cannot bring together, we cannot integrate those differences. So there are differences we must not deny. One of the people who spoke early on said, we cannot deny those differences. And some of those differences are huge because they're embedded in power relationships. This is terrifying and almost insurmountable. So to me, grounding in a common humanity is really, really essential for us to be able to integrate the differences and to integrate the differences in order to find solutions. You know, we will not find solutions if we remain in our differences, but we cannot go beyond our differences unless we acknowledge the differences, but ground them in a common humanity. And there's one other thing, grounding them in love, grounding them in love, in a common humanity that is about love. And I also agree that simplicity is essential. So I want to move beyond a vision that is very simple, but is very comprehensive. And I do think, I mean, I agree with Jen that mothering is fundamental to everybody. But to me, you've used the word, I don't have the vision in front of me, so I can't. But to me, I've noticed that the word maternal, the word mother, the giving and receiving, to me, it is sufficiently recognized in that vision to allow me to go forward to the next step. It's not easy. If I could just use a very simple image I have right now, which is about the conflict in Gaza, obviously. I say, if an Israeli woman could see the humanity of her child, or the humanity of a Palestinian child reflected in the eyes of her own child, there would be no conflict. It is to see our common humanity, to me, is the most important thing. And what I like about this vision is its simplicity. It uses the word humanity right up front. It acknowledges mothering as a common experience across every species. Even in the non-human species, the concept of mothering is central. But to me, the common humanity first, and then we find the common mothering. So I just wanted to say that because I wanted to note that I really think that the differences are enormous, but until we go beyond that, we'll find no solution, none whatsoever. We have to find somewhere that grounds us in something common to everybody, and it's a common humanity grounded in love. To me, that's it.
Thank you, Peggy. I also just want to say the word maternal gifting is in the first paragraph of the vision.
It is, it's right there in the first sentence.
Miki, I'm sorry, could you maybe paste each paragraph into the chat and then people could refer to it?
Yeah. Before I lose the thread, I think I want to reflect something of what I heard from Peggy, because I found it really grounding and deep, what I heard from you, Peggy. And so I want to say it back in my own way so that it can inform what we are doing. One of the things that I find very compelling when we're able to do it, it's not what you said, it's what comes to me as you say it, and I want to know if it connects for you. And Peggy, I don't know if it's intentional that you are off camera. If it's not intentional, I would love to see it.
It's not intentional. I can be on. I didn't think that this allowed us to be on camera. That's it.
So one of the things that I often try to do is speak about radical things in non-radical language, so that it normalizes the radical and makes it simple and almost obvious. And what I'm hearing from you is that what we did here with this vision accomplishes that for you. And I want to know if that resonates.
Yes.
Yeah, and I also think, based on what you said, that I would like to find a way to include something about differences here. And it's very gentle and delicate, because I think differences have the weightiness that they have only within a patriarchal world of power differences. Within the, let's say, the biological world, there's so much diversity, so much differences, and it's not coded in this heaviness. So I want to find a way to integrate something about differences without assuming that differences are as heavy as they are in the way that we live now. So there's something about transcending the gap into a picture in which we are so varied, so many differences, so many different ways of being human. And it's no big deal. That differences are no big deal is what I want to have in the vision, not that they don't exist.
Yeah. Well, if we look at nature, it's there. I mean, nature is so full of difference.
Exactly, that's what I was saying.
So diverse, but there's no hierarchy. That is the point. There is no hierarchy. There's no power. It's not heavy. The differences are not heavy. That is the problem. When the difference, when there's a hierarchy, that is the problem.
Yes, and the hierarchy is generated by patriarchy.
Yeah. And the other things that are connected to and allow patriarchy to its power, the economic stuff and the cultural stuff and all of that. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Peggy. I really appreciate this moment.
I'm just going to take notes of the things to integrate.
Yeah.
We do it right now, I don't think.
No. And Patricia.
Thank you. Good morning. Three of us women who live here on a small piece of land where we're building what we're calling a grandmother's healing camp, went down to a Palenque in Chiapas in April as a result of an invitation to an event called the Unification of the Eagle, the Condor, the Hummingbird, and the Quetzal. And it was 7 days of ceremony offered by various indigenous people from all the way from Alaska to Argentina.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was Honduras, Peru, Bolivia, Utah, Netherlands, Switzerland. And it was a very, very inspiring event. We came home with our hearts full and feeling that there is a way, there is hope. Anyway, there's an organization called SINE, S-I-N-E, and they have a massive network of other organizations that are working with them. And it looks like environmental peace organizations and that kind of thing. But there seems to be an underlying connection to the United Nations, which to me, it gives me like a panic attack because I just think of the United Nations and I automatically see the patriarchy and the top-down power structure. However, I'll find a link to post in the chat so that people can have a look at that network and see, if there's some way that that the people that we are working with could work with them. It was part of the experience, which was a little bit strange but not surprising, was that groups started out, with a circle, and then they kind of morphed into a pyramid because of the assumption on the part of the men that it's only natural that they should take a leadership position.
Of course.
And so it's kind of like they usurped situations by assuming that everybody would be happy, that they would be, stand up and take leadership. And it seems like there's not even any place inside of them that's able to understand that we have been silent for somewhere around 5,000 years as a result of the treatment that we've had, which is, ridicule and shame and ignoring us and all these different ways that they have kept women silent, including violence, of course. And I don't know what the answer is because they're well-meaning men. They want peace, they want a healthy world, but they can't hear that the voice of the voice of the women must be heard. The mother must be heard.
I want to tell you that within our community, the Nonviolent Global Liberation Community, we are vastly many more women than men, but we're not only women. There are men, and they are oriented in a very empowered way to follow women's leadership. It is a really exquisite and extraordinary privilege to work with these men who recognize and accept the history of what has happened and seeing it as their sacred work to support the leadership of women. It's really quite amazing.
Well, this is what we need. We need those men, and we need those men to demonstrate to other men how they can be in that role of support. But I'll find the Sign Network link so that people can look at it and see all of those organizations.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Go from there, because this maternal gifting economy movement is actually my favorite group out of everything that I am involved in. So
thank you
to be here. Thank you.
Letecia.
Yes. I love being a participant. It's so exciting for me.
Yes, that's what I was trying to convey in my voice. It's like, this is probably the first time ever that somebody is actually calling on you when you are usually moderating.
Very exciting. I want to bring us back to really to bring me back to, so that I feel really connected to the group. I know that we're working on the vision. However, I can't work on the vision without reminding myself of the purpose. And the purpose that is stated on the document that you shared with us reads, to reveal and nurture a global interconnected web of maternal gift economy projects and applications. And what I want to say to that is that it does already imply differences already. We're not one. And that the purpose of the vision is not to create one movement, one organization, but to create a vision that many of these different projects could come together, which is why it needs to be simple, that we have a shared commonality, but not necessarily the same methodology or the same aspect of the projects that we're bringing to life. But without each of the organizations that are uniquely different, we would not be able to actually cover all the bases required to shift to a global maternal gift economy. So when I hold it when I hold in myself that reality of what we come together to do in the Zoom room, then my attachment to being understood explicitly all the time is not necessary. What's necessary for me is to know where we have a shared reality.
Mhm.
And that way we can move together, because in each of our networks, each of our projects, we hold a responsibility to clarify our own group vision and how they overlap together to come underneath what would be identified as a maternal gift economy. So that's the way I'm holding this session. That's why I love the activity, because it creates a demonstration of leadership and cooperation that isn't often visible to people who are wanting to actually come together in their differences, allowing for differences, that we find the commonality. And I just want to share one little tiny awareness that I had. I woke up one day thinking of the color red, and then tried to actually imagine if I was trying to convey to somebody who didn't speak my language how many 5,000 different words that would describe red, but they all mean red.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when I'm listening, that's what I listen to. I listen with the awareness that we may not speak the same language, but there's a fullness of understanding that requires me to be fully present, so that I'm both visually attending, I'm energetically attending. There's a part of the language that I'm attending to, so that all of those pieces come together, that I know that I'm receiving the message that's conveyed, as well as connecting with the individual. So I just want to give an option of gratitude here, and just the effort of working together on a vision. I know how challenging it is. So I want to welcome all of you and thank you for having the courage to actually speak your words and being in the process. It's very exciting for me, even if sometimes I might be frustrated. It doesn't deter me from wanting to be here.
Thank you, Letecia. You're an amazing weaver. Yeah. Jen?
Yeah, I just think I wanted to go back to the common humanity. And my understanding of that is that we all have mothers who give to us unilaterally, and that creates our common humanity. It becomes very diversified in many different cultures, but that's what we have in common at the base. And if we can access that, then we do realize our common humanity.
Mm-hmm. All right, I want to call on my colleagues for kind of like thinking out loud, where do we go next? Because we came to a point that is not in our plan at all. And I don't have a sense of what comes next. Do you have?
I don't know. I have a suggestion because of what Letecia was just bringing, to go down the VM and or
Leave
either
alone the
speak.
vision.
Yeah, that's what's in the plan, to go to the purpose piece next.
Yes. And speak to like even different purposes that each movement would have, or different strengths and
I think part of the issue that I see, I think we can do the purpose and the mission, and there aren't necessarily movements represented within this room. It's more, some people are part of movements or groups or communities, and some people are here just as individuals because they are interested in the topic. And doing the weaving of both of these it's a bit challenging, but
I'm wondering if we can see a raise of hands who is actually part of a movement and is inspired to move forwards with this further.
Yeah, let's see that. Who here is part of some kind of a movement and wants to move forward with this?
Okay.
Okay. So then let's go and see if we are going into this purpose. And just so everybody knows, we took notes, but the integration it doesn't make sense for continuing to try to do the integration here. Let's now look at the purpose. And the same question, especially for those who imagine the possibility of actually creating something together, of uniting, coming together for some common project. Does the purpose speak to you? To reveal and nurture a global interconnected web of maternal gift economy projects and applications. Does this speak to you as something that you see yourself part of doing? Not just reading about it, but actually doing, saying, yeah, I can give my energy to this. I see my movement here. Please speak to that. Susie? Did you want to speak? No.
I've been from before.
Yeah.
From before. Yeah. Menaka?
Okay, I also want to remind you to invite those who haven't spoken yet.
Yes, thank you. I usually do this, and I got a little overwhelmed with what was happening and the many layers. So one of the things that I often do when I teach or do presentations or anything, when there is a period for people to speak, I invite people to consciously subvert the patterns of who speaks and who doesn't speak that are present within our societies. And I'm very happy to issue this invitation here for those who haven't yet spoken to please step forward and find your way to speaking. And for those who already have spoken, to maybe focus your attention on learning and engaging through listening to what others say. Thank you, Menaka. Does the purpose speak to people? Is this something you can see yourself doing something with? If so, what? If not, why not? What would need to be different for it to speak to you?
Hi. I've had a vision that I've been holding with various people over the years that have come and gone of a cooperative community that somehow comes up with a collective capacity to support not just single mothers. I was here for the Motherful chat, and that was really inspiring to me, but I think the scope that I have is much greater. And I guess when I think of mothering, I don't think of it as a gendered term or an age term. Like, I've got a dear friend who is parenting her aging parents, and she is very, very far beyond capacity. And I have been for some time trying to support disabled children in growing into the future. And I have been very, very, very far beyond capacity for a long time. And, you know, we've explored land-based communities, and we've explored people moving in together in houses. And I'm in the process right now of cultivating more capacity and bringing more caregivers into my home so that I can put more energy into this. And, it's so right now it's kind of a loose association of people that are like, yeah, when I've got time, I want to join, I want to do this, but we're all like, everybody that's involved in this particular idea that I'm connected with, we're all so far beyond capacity. And as much as we work to build that capacity to kind of come together, but that's the vision. It's to support mothering and in a in-person, like material way. I've been working with the Liberation Pod that was started in the Facing Life as One course through MBCA Academy a few years ago. And we've been working together on that for some time. So yeah, I'm hearing what everyone's saying, and all of this is speaking to me, and I don't know where what I'm wanting to do and the people that I'm connected with are wanting to do connects to this, but I sort of see that it does, and I don't know, I don't know how it's going to move forward, but this is where all of my energy is. And all of my capacity goes when I have any, is trying to move forward and growing this mutually supportive, raising up of particularly mothers, like I've tried intentional communities, that are based on eco functions. I've tried intentional communities that are around children with disabilities. I've tried, and for some reason or another, one part of my household, which is me and my 2 sons, doesn't fit. Like there's places for my sons, but I can't be there because I'm not disabled enough. And there's places where I go and I can fit, but my children are not welcome because there's not enough resources to support them. And so, anyway, that's what's going through me at this time. Thank you.
Just want to take a moment to breathe with you into the complexity and challenge that you're facing on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all my effort is, I find so much nourishment in NGL spaces and nonviolent spaces in this maternal gifting movement, because all of this helps me to cultivate the capacity to keep going. And so much of it is here and me learning how to cultivate that. But yeah, this is where my heart and my whole purpose is, I think, as a person. So
thank you. What I'm seeing that this purpose tries to capture is something about coordinating what different people are doing, because there's a lot that is being done, but not with some energy that comes together. So each part does it on its own, and then the synergy that could come. I'm not talking to you specifically, I'm just seeing that that this is a challenge that this purpose is trying to address, that there's so many communities, so many movements, so many projects, so many applications that are happening without knowing about each other and without distributing our capacity and reaching collective capacity. That's what I'm seeing as the challenge that this little experimental thing that we're trying to do is trying to address. Can we actually come together? Is there energy? Because what I'm seeing is when everybody is maxed out, we stay separate from each other, and then we don't have the benefit of others' capacity. We only have our own capacity to lean on. And if we manage to come together, we can have more collective capacity. But in order to do that, we need to exit the protected space of just doing our own thing. And that is something that I don't know yet how to find a way to go beyond that. Haven't succeeded in creating the conditions for that to happen. For you or for others, or for me. Yeah. Angela?
Yeah, I'm looking at my camera's over there and I'm looking at the screen at everybody else. So this is why I'm not staring into the distance. Sorry about not figuring out the things. I feel there are so many incredible movements and groups linked among us. It's inconceivable and it's so exciting and it's incredible to see people and hear what everyone's doing. And I think that's our relationships, and they exist. And we need to find ways for those relationships to be felt, to express, to support each other, to know. And I don't have any doubt that everybody here in this meeting agrees about a vision we want and need and wants is glad we're all here. That's a basis we have. That is not going to come out of a statement if we get the statement so that everybody has the words they want, because I think they are all overlapping and some of us emphasize other crucial elements, and they're all crucial elements, and we all, but I don't think there's anything really big that any of us basically disagree with that we would have to struggle, because we wouldn't want to be working with you if your statement is a bit different than the way I would have written it. To me, there is a basis of solidarity, and we have that. We have not used it and built it. So I think it's a really interesting thing to do together to look at this, if people want to take that time. I don't think anything depends on it, quite frankly. I really don't, and I think we're really not going to have the fun and the enjoyment of exploring what ways we do differ. We're in a group of groups that aren't going to have any difficulty to say, well, now I would put here. What I would do is I would start with the relationships, and to me that's what mother is, and that's what humanity is, and it's not a question of having to get the wording right about all these other pieces so we can have a relationship. I think we need to acknowledge it to our humanity and our mothers in the world and go for it. But I don't think anybody disagrees with that exactly. You know, it's really small. These things that somehow, like, we don't need to feel we have the weight of being able to have some power on being able to it's interesting to talk about it. It gives a lot of reflection, and we can take on board ways of seeing things that others have here that we don't. But if we make it something in itself, like the document or the statement is what we have in common, or what gives us something in common, then we're separating ourselves. You know, we're not coming together. And I just know that everybody who's here, and everybody probably in all the networks we're in, would have a great time if we just together. There will be occasions when people, maybe there become differences, but I think if they happen in practice and in relationship, we can test them and grow them, and then the differences can really bring us something rather than complex struggles. So, you know, it's like we have so much. We have a movement of movements, and you know, let's enjoy it. So that's what I've been trying to say. Oh, anyway, it's nice to hear everybody and see everybody and hear what they're doing and things, you know. So
thank you.
I sort of have a couple questions and thoughts. So one of them has to do with the tenderness I felt around, if we manage to come together, we can rely on collective capacity that you just said, Miki, that speaks to so much of what I hear, where I'm so tired, I'm so alone, all of that, countering that. And my mind went to how beneficial is the technology we have access to? Is it, would it benefit to just have a landing page where needs and resources were stated or projects were listed? Or is it, or do people not use technology? That's one thought. And then seeing Patricia put the little social systems map, which might, which is a different way that I'm learning very little about, you know, you can see everybody and you can click and see what they're doing and what they need. And maybe, you know, two people that can meet, or so but I'm wondering if people are tired of technology or don't want to play with it. But it does seem like it might be a way to see who we are related to, like who is our family globally or something along those lines. So that's why I'm curious if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to pause for just a second, because what came up for me was the idea and the longing as well for people in physical reality to know, but maybe you'd realize there's someone in your city. I don't know. I'm pointing to the social systems map over there, like maybe that would be a way. So did you get anything out of what I shared?
I'm just thinking out loud as things unfold. There's a difference for me between a network of mutual aid and people coming together to do a piece of work together. They're not the same. And the purpose here is
Can
about—
you clarify that, please? What you just said, would you mind clarifying that for me?
I will try. I can— when we're coming together to do something, to move towards a shared goal, the movement of resources between us isn't just to satisfy our individual or small group needs. It is also to coalesce our energies in the direction of a particular purpose. It's not the same as just helping each other do what we're already doing. It's somehow co-shaping what we're doing. So I can give an example from what is happening now within NGL, Nonviolent Global Liberation, which is we are still moving in the direction. We've been functioning together for almost 7 years now. And we are now moving to a stage where it's becoming clear that we need input and an engagement with others in order to decide where to put our attention and what projects to take on, what teams to join or not. It no longer seems sufficient for each person to decide for themselves. I am just called to participate in this team, so I'm going to go do that. Is it actually what most serves the purpose? For this, it requires knowledge and wisdom beyond my own. So we are now starting to come together to make those decisions, not as isolated individuals, to make them in an interconnected, interdependent way. This is just one tiny example, because the shared purpose is starting to seep into the physicality of each of us. I can't anymore just wake up in the morning and say, oh, today I'm going to do this, if I'm not sensing how it weaves with what others are doing. Is that clarifying, Dylan?
Very clarifying in the idea that I'm just not making decisions for myself anymore. I am taking into consideration or account or being informed or moved by what is needed by the group, which is something I'm very, very curious about, because I've been asking myself alone, wow, look at all these things I could do. Look, I like it. I want it. I think, oh yeah. And at the same time, I'm pausing like, is that what is most beneficial, both to me and others? And that question is having me pause a lot because I'm not getting the kind of, I'm not connecting in a way that is informing me other, so yeah, there is this, I'm definitely vibing with that. Thank you. Yeah.
And even saying I'm taking input and informing myself still leaves the actual decision in me. And what I'm talking about is a step beyond that. Actually making the decision with others.
Yes.
Not just with input from others, but with others.
Yes, I'm understanding that, and I'm learning how to lessen my individual, my training as an individual in that way, which just decides and does, and hey, let's do this, done, let's all do it, or whatever, leading in the way of me deciding alone, and wanting to decide with others how I can best be of service.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wanting that, yeah. I'm tentative steps, as you say, baby steps, barely steps actually, but I have the idea of it, so I'm moving in that way. Thank you. And how does that relate exactly to so let me think, the idea of technology is that still in a way saying I'm looking at the social systems map and I'm deciding what I will do, or I'm
the way, I don't know the social systems map. The way you were talking about it is as if we would make known what our resources and what our needs, which is still leaving the definition of needs and the definition of resources in individual nodes rather than in a coherent place that goes towards purpose.
So my question was, how do you make known the needs of the group to other that just got a little mushier for me, but like how to do that. So that's just, I'm curious.
I don't think we are at the level of how to do that. Even even deciding, is this wanted?
Yeah.
It's still on the table.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I think I want to make visible something that is actually weighing on me right now, which is that there are 4 of us here, and it all fell to me. And that this is not what I wanted or what I came here to do, and I feel it like weight.
Yeah, I think after we stepped off of the plan that we had, you took it up and went in that direction.
And I think many of the questions and things that people are raising, others of you could speak to, and I'm just experiencing some grief.
May I speak for a moment? And I apologize for not knowing how to raise my hand. Usually I'm much more respectful.
Yeah, I think I can actually stack you. So if you want to go in the flow, Angela D and Patricia has her hand up.
Okay, thank you so much.
Jody. Yeah. So Angela D.
I am Angela D. I am Angela Dolmich. I am from Colombia, and I am from South America, not British Columbia. And I would like to ask Miki, how in this moment are we going to change the world? And how we reach, I am a very practical person, and how are we going to reach those women who are women anyway, and who have children, and how are we going to reach these women so that we change the world for them?
I don't know how to do that. I don't think anyone knows, but I'm honest enough to say it.
Vanda has
It's a crazy idea, but would everyone who has more than one house be able to create an eco village like Neotia for 80 women?
I want to try to give an answer that obviously will not answer that to the level of concreteness that we South Americans like. I'm also from South America. So I think the idea is in this group, we would first decide that changing the world of some group of women is something we actually want to take on. And it would go in this framework as one mission point or with different goals. And we are not there in this session at that point, at that level down to agreements and how to do it. But obviously, if there were more of these meetings and people and movements coming together, and we would agree that this is one of the things we want to attend to, then it would come on our list, and we would somehow find movements that have the strength and the capacity needed to do that. And this is how we would act. So I don't know if this is helpful. I'm not seeing you, Angela, anymore on my screen. But yeah, this is, we aren't at the point of how are we going to achieve mission 1 or 2 or 3. I think we haven't even decided to what are our mission points. And we would get there. Does that in any way help you answer the question?
No, what I mean, what I think is that if we don't have a purpose, a group is simply getting together without thinking, without aiming at something really big. I think we always have I mean, great movements had always got there because they aim at something big. Like Marx, you know, he wanted to get to the evolution of the proletarian. So one has to have great means, because if we stay in theories, you know, it wouldn't work.
Okay, thanks. I'm doing a time check as I do. We only have about 8 minutes left, so we also, I want to also leave time for Miki and Vanda and Emma to close, and
yeah, so
Menaka.
let's hear briefly from Patricia and was it Jody?
Yeah, just briefly, because
okay, I'll make this very quick. There was a statement in the Nonviolent Global Communication, and I really want to find out more about that, but it was about imagine 100,000 women in white appearing in a war zone. And so that inspired me to wonder, what about us agreeing to 1 day a week to all start wearing white and try to have this as a movement of women all over the world wearing white on 1 day of the week to demonstrate our desire for peace. So that's an idea that came to me from reading that, because it was so powerful and beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jody.
Hi there. Just quickly, I am looking towards creating community here on Vancouver Island. There's a 39-acre piece of land here that's on floodplains. It already has 2 houses on it. I'd like to be able to begin building floating homes, because there may be a deluge, and I'd like to be able to teach agriculture on the water. That's something that's going on, has gone on in Mexico for years. So I'd like to open up an opportunity to be able to have discussions for people who are interested in co-creating community with us grandmothers over here. We are Deja Sanctuary Communities. We are the grandmothers, the mama bears, the sister bears, all coming together to co-create an intergenerational, self-sustaining, co-housing, agricultural, arts, music, fun community. And I'll put my telephone number up online for those who'd like to connect, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna offer the mic back to your group, Miki, Emma, Vanda, and Menaka. So you can close, and then just going to say, I'm going to close us as a group for today. I know we got you off track, didn't we? We're very, but that's what happens when you go live.
Here, I'm still here. Sorry. Okay.
Okay. So, Miki, turning it over. Or actually, I should turn it back to Vanda because you started us. So there you go.
Yeah, I think I invite us to do a little celebration round to us who were holding. And I think what I want to celebrate is that we get a felt sense of what a vision, what it takes to get a vision that pulls us, all of us, and specifically how it relates to having, a very specific purpose, and the whole issue about differences and being one, having one shared vision, a shared purpose, while not needing to do all exactly the same. I liked a lot the interaction we had around that. Yeah. Passing on to Menaka, if you want to.
I celebrate having a lived experience of the challenges, that it's not a simple thing, and it is possible to collaborate.
I'll go. I'm celebrating just a sense of like engaging with some complexity together, and also having an experience as a group of the possibility of integration and having that imprint in the bodies coming out of here. Yeah.
I am celebrating how much participation there was and how much wisdom I experienced emerging in different places to weave something that is giving us a mirror of both the possibility and the challenge. And we have a couple more minutes, and I would love to hear if there are any people here who are celebrating anything that happened, especially people who have not said anything yet. If there's anything that people are celebrating, that would be great to hear. Doesn't have to be people who haven't spoken, it just would be fun. But anyone, if you're celebrating anything, please say.
Well, I want to celebrate the way that the way that I witnessed the wanting and the desire so much to bring people together so that we all are holding a vision together, just as a part of the weaving, as a part of the not letting it's okay, be okay, kind of like, no, come on, participate. So I appreciated that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the it's okay, be okay is okay too.
Danny.
Yes, I'm here with my family, so I know there's noise. But I just wanted to say I was really touched by the learning of hearing the voices that were contributing and holding it in a field of, it felt really strong and also gentle in the integration. And I usually, it goes to rupture. And I just thought that was really beautiful to experience and witness. Thank you all.
Thank you. Great. All right, Letecia, Diane, Jen, thank you for inviting us again.
Yes. I want to just offer a celebration, which is that each of you joined us here under the auspices of the maternal gift economy, however that word is defined to you, that somehow we have come together in a Zoom room. So I celebrate that, because taking a couple of hours off of your Saturday to be with us is something definitely to be celebrated. So I want to honor the commitment to being attracted to that word and being part of this event today.
Thank you.
And I also, yes, and I want to celebrate also that I have been called a groupaholic because I have participated in many, many groups. And I want to celebrate the tenacity of heart that was here to stay with and keep a person in the conversation, gently bringing them back into the fold so that they could still feel included, even as they might differ, but allowing them to have their words. And that is quite a delicate and vital piece of actually being able to work collaboratively. And it is not an easy thing to do. It's often also not acknowledged as essential to being able to stay at a table where you're working out details. So thank you all. Thank you, each of you who participated with us, and also your group, to be able to demonstrate just the compassionate way that you use your language and words to bring us back to the fold. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Letecia.
Yeah. I want to just say, you know, I want to celebrate us even as the salons. We've had 64 salons, and we look forward to more. In 2 weeks, we'll have another. So we want to invite you back. So please pay attention to your inbox, because we'll be sending out an announcement. I really want to thank Diane for you know, gently holding us in this technology space with grace. I want to thank Genevieve, you know, for her collective consciousness, sort of honing us right into this Zoom room with her words and the work that she's done. Miki has also done incredible work around the gift economy, the maternal gift economy, and the NGL group. So I just want to thank you all for coming back and wanting to unite a movement so we move forward together. And all of the women here who identify as women of the International Feminists for the Gift Economy, without you and the ongoing weekly group that we've been doing since 2020, that helps us to create content and bring interesting salons to you, without you, we wouldn't be here either. So I just want to thank you. And all of you who are participating today, without an audience, without attendees, we wouldn't be here. So you are vitally important. Whatever relationship you have to this room, you're doing your job, and I am grateful for that. So with that, I just want to say thank you to everyone. The world is a very difficult and chaotic place right now. There's a lot of grieving, a lot of loss, and any time that you're invited to come together collectively to create community, you know, to create together, I just want to invite you to do it. We need goodness and kindness in the world. So thank you all for being here, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Peace, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take good care. Bye for now.
Everybody, thank you for
Bye
coming.
bye. Thank you.